Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Choice of Rebels. We are right about to start an ambush of some people who are hunting us down. Hector, as well as some other boys. So let's see what's going to happen. Colt had agreed to lead the mule trains immediately with a broad, unperturbed grin. You'd best hurry down when the attack comes, Captain, else we might just fell them all before you reach us. Now you scramble back up the cliff edge with Ern and Alira. The smell of sap and dust is thick with your nostrils. This close to the ground, you fight to stifle a sneeze while you make your last survey of the terrain. Far below you, Colt and the rest are beginning to traverse a gentle slope. To either side of the track, the ground is rugged but mostly treeless for 100 yards or so. This is surely where Hector will ride out against them. Where will we be best command? Where will we best command the mule track? Gosh, sorry, it's so early. You breathe. Alira pauses for only a few seconds before pointing to the three forested outcrops far below. Right, you agree. I'll take that one. You need to be closest to the fighting, as you'll be giving the signal to attack. Ern gives a barely perceptible nod toward the further perch, exchanges hand signals with Alira, and shoots you a grin. You'll be there first. It's straight down from here. We'll be at the others a minute behind you. Angel speed, you captain. You slither back down on your bellies to the rest of the ambush party. All their bows are already strung, and they're split into the agreed groups. Haste, haste, you hissed, fast as you can without being heard or spied. The manures will be on Colt soon. Without waiting for their ascent, you turn and begin half sliding, half running down the stony slope. Two archers follow close at your heels. I think my dog has something that she's not supposed to have. You've descended perhaps 3/4 of the thickly forested slope when Hector Caryatou's hunting horn blares from the mule track. Despite yourself, it sends a jolt of terror down your spine, the fear of the young master suddenly coming upon you in the forest, to accuse you of poaching or fornication of some other pretext. Damnation, you growl, and break into as close to a sprint as you dare. Little need now for stealth, with the din of cheers, howls, and hooves carrying up the breeze. The Caryatou is definitely charging the muleteers, not coming for you. Seconds stretch out painfully as you careen down the slope. Branches whip at you, scurry tumbles underfoot. Ahead of you, the kraut crop looms closer and closer. You spring up the boulders, then drop and crawl the last few yards to overlook the battle. The screams, both animal and human, are ear-splitting even at a distance. At first you stare in amazement at the slowly clearing dust cloud, not understanding how Colt managed to bring down 3 riders, horses and all, around his beleaguered knot of muleteers. Then you see the cords around the still thrashing legs of one animal and understand. Bolas. Not the small ones, the helots typically used for pretty games, but big enough to fell a charging stallion at 20 yards. You've occasionally wondered what Colt has been up to in the mornings, taking a few other young bandits out for weapons practice. Now you know. 3 of your outlaws at least are also down, felled by veneer arrows or lances, but the survivors stand shoulder to shoulder, presenting an unwavering circle of pikes. Above the cacophony you pick out Hector's furious shriek. I'll wind out your guts over a flame while you live, boy. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I did to the last dung-chewing helot who dared touch one of my horses? Let alone. Colt interrupts with something that Hector could improbably do with his horses. Then he calls joyously. Hold, spear mates, hold but a few moments longer till Captain Oakfell sticks these piss splatters full of bins. 3 of the surviving veneers turn with obvious wariness to scan the tree line and crags, including your hiding place, but the sunshine is against them as you'd hoped, and their gaze passes you by. The Kermes-clad Hector just gapes at Colt, clearly unable to comprehend this degree of defiance from helots who should be cowering before his wrath, if not fleeing in total disarray. Then, lying clod, he snarls and spurs his horses savagely toward your muleteers. In a single smooth movement, Colt lets go of his long spear, brings up a javelin from his side, and hurls it straight at the charging noble's head. Hector flings himself to one side with a squawk, dodging the blow but almost unhorsing himself. Uncontrolled, his wide-eyed stallion dances back away from the row of pikes. Your outlaws hoot and cheer, adding their gleeful obscenities to Colt's. You don't think you've ever seen your former master so disheveled and shaken as he is now. He regains the saddle, barks an order to the other nobles. They canter back down the trail, trading blades for bows, and wheel about. Colt curses, losing his grin, and yells, "Shields up!" The pikes waver or drop altogether as your muleteers clumsily scramble to get shields overhead. You don't know what another flight of arrows will do to them, but Hector's probably counting on breaking their spirits before a decisive charge. Do you order your archers to loose arrows at the veneers? Yes. Yeah, let's hold. We'll hold. Unless you break the Venurs, all the lives sacrificed in this ambush will be in vain, and you'll never catch Hector off guard this easily again. You need to wait until the ambush can be decisive, whatever the cost to the bait. You begin a slow count to 50. New howls and screams burst from the muleteers as the Venurs and Hector loose one arrow after another into their midst. Caut's desperate voice rises above the others. Shields up, keep them up, hold, hold. When the barrage ends, 4 more of your followers are on the ground, dead or badly hit. Caut raises his shield enough to howl. Is that the best you can do, you aristo yodswivers? Through a toothy grin, the rest of the standing muleteers joined the chorus of abuse, their voices only slightly tremulous. Take him alive, Hector barks to his surviving Venurs, who are again trading their bows for hunting lances and swords. Whatever is left of him by evening will be our message to Oakfell. He blows his horn and vaults forward to a final charge. Your surviving outlaws huddle together and raise their pikes, yelling something hoarse and wordless to keep themselves from fleeing. 50. You finish and bring your arm down sharply. 2 notched whistling arrows fly down from your outcrop, followed by seconds but later by a small cloud from the 2 other perches where your young Ern and Alira have arrived. Ambuscade, or ambuscade. Hector yelps and shrieks and jerks up his shield arm as the Venur next to him drops from the saddle. Retreat! By the time they reach tree cover, 2 more have died, and you've feathered at least 3 of the survivors. You break into a run and pursue them as far as the next bend in the hill, sending them off toward Ellery with a few more arrows in their armor. When you return to the battle site, Caut strides over to meet you with a fierce grin on his bloodied face. Behind them, young Ern and his archers are binding up wounds among the surprisingly cheerful muleteers. That was fine timing, Captain. I was just beginning to worry that the bastards would crack us open. Then you arrived. Seemed to me that you'd been doing well enough without us. You walk over to the nearest felled horse. I expected you to hold until we arrived, not to bring you of them down. But the animal and its rider have broken limbs, but the circle of earth churned up by the thrashing horse and the crawling posture of the Venur tell you that they survived their fall. The blood blackening on the ground came from slashes to their throat veins. You recognized the Venur, a boy from the Tarakatu family, Gano or something, not one with a reputation for helot baiting, or you'd have known him with certainty. I say nothing, it needed to be done. What feels like a very long time later, you spy Ellery and her returning hunters through the trees. Their misery is clear even from a distance. Of course they didn't get him. You stride out to meet them on the mule track, searching for the missing faces. What happened? We loosed arrows too soon, Ellery says, flat-voiced. 1 more Venur went down, but the others rallied around Hector and found cover. They killed 7 of us and fought free. How do a few injured ambush nobles kill that many? You demand in disbelief. By being better than us, Steele speaks up without meeting your gaze. To territory with that, Caut breaks, striding up to Seals and slapping him across the face. The young tracker staggers backwards, taken completely off guard. You think they're saying that now? Alack, the dirty helots killed 7 of us. They must be better than we are. Damned if they are. They're telling each other that we had luck and low cunning on our side, and that next time they'll scythe us down like the weeds we are. We had the advantage over them. We lost it. Ellery shakes her head, but at least now she looks angry instead of merely wretched. They shouldn't have been able to come back. And next time we won't lose the advantage, Caut insists. He strides over to the body of the Tarakatu, pulls the dead youth's partly severed head up by the hair so everyone can see his expression of shock and horror. All the surviving muleteers cheer loudly. I say we are better than this. We came up with something they didn't expect, and it killed them. You think I'm the only one of us who can do that? Next time it'll be you or you or you. As Caut continues to talk, you see hope returning to your outlaws. You also see the admiration and gratitude in their eyes, the way they look at a leader. I'm relieved. He brought them back from despair at a major setback. He's earned their respect. I'm relieved. He brought them back from despair after a major setback. He's earned their respect. On the way back, you turn to Caut. Why did you hide the bola practice from me? I'm sorry, Captain, he says, looking abashed. I thought it best to keep it as much a secret as possible. It helped the plan, rather than just going against it, so I didn't see the need to tell the rest of the planners, just in case one of them spoke to the wrong person. Or was the wrong person, you hear behind his words. You could tell me without telling all the rest. Next time I will, Captain, Caut promises. In the last weeks of spring, you're heartened by the arrival of reinforcements. Another 20-odd runaway helots, petty criminals, and displaced yeomen from across the rim, the usual recruits for the Windward Band. Then comes the unusual surge, another 31 club-wielding former helots from estates across the outer rim. As soon as we heard that you'd stood up to Hector Carriatou and sent him fleeing for his life, Captain, we knew we had to join you. One of them says with an admiring, angry grin, "Anyone who faces down the young aristarch bastard like that in the wild, I just wish we could have been at your side and seen his swiving face." Normally your pleasure at newcomers' arrival would be balanced by your concern about having to search for spies in their midst. But while you search, of course, your main feeling is pure relief. With the Archon sure to send an army after you by midsummer, you're in poor position to turn down anyone. You celebrate their arrival with another feast of venison and ale. They'll hear enough stories of hunger from the winter, and you don't want them to worry about going hungry themselves. Before eating, you greet the eager, but still somewhat frightened-looking newcomers. "Welcome to the Windward, my comrades." Sisters and brothers will work, because we're all in it together. After everyone has eaten their fill, you raise your voice above the cheery babble. You've joined us in time to face our greatest test together. Welcome to the rebellion, sisters and brothers. The very last person to join your band that spring is the strangest and most unsettling by far. You're camped as far west as you ever go in a grassy vale where little streams thread between high, steep pillars of rock. This far out, you can afford to be a bit more relaxed when it comes to campfires. You've never seen a third so far from Rim Square. From the thick greenery atop one crag, a scout suddenly gives the crane call that warns of an incoming stranger. As you glance up to her, you have to shield your eyes from the sinking sun, and it strikes you that whoever she's spied is coming from the wrong side of the camp, the side where there's nothing between you and the ward. Whoever's approaching isn't interested in stealth. You can hear them crashing through the undergrowth even as you stride across the camp to meet them. But you're as unprepared as any of the guards beside you for the shadowy form that finally lurches out of the brambles, a nightmarish mix of plant and human, bent and three-limbed, with long vines trailing from its torso and thick hairy tendrils from the half of its ragged-looking head. "Zao!" yelps Ellery, leaping back. You don't think it was meant as a curse. The creature stops and casts its head about as sniffing the air. Your wide-eyed scouts bring up their bows. It's Alice Stonehewer who cries out, "Stop! He's hurt!" When she takes in the terrified expressions, she pleads, "It's a man. He's just a man. Don't hurt him." "Stay your arrows," you shout to the outlaws, and then to the shadow. "Who are you? What brings you us?" "Zao," the stranger croaks, echoing Ellery, then topples forward like a tree. From the low brush you hear a dry, desperate weeping. "Mercy, oh mercy, Zao." You cautiously approach and take in a figure more human but scarcely less disturbing than your initial impressions. He's naked and gaunt, thoroughly entangled in bramble vines which have spilled small rivulets of blood all over most of his body. He was running forward with his right arm held over his face. His left arm is nothing but a smooth, black stump, an inch long at his shoulder. Half his face is thickly bearded, the other half is a ruin of raw cuts, bone, and teeth visible through tatters of flesh. He stares back at you, delirium in his eyes, making great dry gasps which you take for crying. Ooh. It takes all of your self-command not to flinch away from him. Someone fetch an abler. A bleak-looking pen thatcher runs off at once to do so. "Captain," Rabmar growls uneasily, crouching at your side, "you actually mean to bring him into the camp? Like all of you, the burly youth will have grown up on dark tales of Zao demons crept across the wards. Blood drinkers, soul eaters, and child thieves, lacking only an invitation to enter a house and devour everyone there. Everyone knows that one consequence of being cast into Zao is losing your soul. We don't turn away a stranger who asks our mercy. Not until, even if he's a demon or soulless. Not until he's well enough to satisfy me that he's nothing unnatural. I'll not believe in Zao demons till I see one, Rabmar. This is just a man and one who needs our help." Let's see, do we not want to... I don't like the middle one. Do we not turn away strangers who ask our mercy, or will we not believe in Zao demons? I like the last one. I'll not believe in Zao demons till I see one, Rabmar. This is just a man and one who needs our help. Whew. Don't let a myth frighten you. Rabmar's face knots up with outrage. Frightened? See if I don't carry him then. He turns to the broken man, speaking with unexpected gentleness. Hear that, stranger? We'll get the thorn vines off you, and I'll carry you to the abler. Mercy, the man whimpers. Curling in on himself, Radmar's hand hovers a reluctant inch away from him before closing around the man's shoulder. With his other hand, he begins to carefully pull away the brambles. Tirret Abler examines the stranger with brisk interest in the healer's tent. When he's finished, he quietly beckons you and a couple others out of the tent for a report. The arm looks burnt off, Captain, but along a perfect straight cut, as if the thaumatarch's own chirurgeon had severed it, then cauterized the stump. He was caught across a ward. Seals interjects, his expression of mixed and uncertainty. Captain, I've seen a storm or two break against the wards when I was camped out west. I saw a tree once that had fallen across the ward, and it was cut off flatter and smoother than anything I've seen in my life. You're sure the others feel the same lurch of nausea that you do? The thought of being caught in a Zao storm, of having your body dissolve while your very soul is stripped away by the enemy of Thanos, even if you don't think you believe the myth of Zao and Thanos anymore, it touches a fear deeper than that. But his face, Tirret's lips twist. Well, I'd warrant most of that was no Zao storm, not unless it works with a blunt knife. Only a few bits are burned. You shake your head, bile hot in the back of your throat. Bleeding angels, will he live? I've done what I can, Captain. Tomorrow we'll see. You find it hard to sleep that night. Haunted by dreams of an unnameable shadow rising from the man's broken body, worries that he'll bring some plague or madness from the Zowlands to your band, sympathy for the stranger's hideously mauled face, the inevitable Thurge and Phalangi attack coming this summer. Today's mystery doesn't affect that. Let's do sympathy. At length you sigh, accepting that you'll get no sleep. You're not entirely surprised to find Tirret awake too, sitting in the moonlight outside the tent where he's been tending to your maimed guest. He scrambles up as you approach. Captain, I thought you'd be resting, or I'd have fetched you. The fever's receding and he's come to himself. You hurry into the dark enclosure and crouch next to the gaunt intruder's pallet. The man's right eye shines, bright and bloodshot, in the flicker of a lamp flame. The other half of his face is bound up in cataplasm-stained bandages. You speak just loudly enough to be audible above his rapid, raspy breath. I'm Captain Callan Oakfell. Who are you, and what happened to you? Thought it'd be plain, Captain. Zao happened to me. His words are slurred by sickness and the bandage, but his broad southern accent is clearer than it was when you first crashed out of the woods. It makes him seem more familiar, sort of stranger. You're outlaws? Aye, the Windward Band, rebels against the Thaumatarch and all his servants. I'm actually more interested in knowing who you are, though. But we will find out who he is in the next video. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. You do my heart and my soul proud and happiness whenever you watch these videos. So I pray that you would please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching, be sure to suggest new games that I could maybe play. I'm very much enjoying reading to you every couple mornings for 40 to 50 minutes at a time, but it is a bit taxing to read that much this early in the morning. So maybe if you're thinking about a game that doesn't involve so much reading, that'd be cool. But if you want to stick to this type of game too, I will have to give the masses what they desire. All 2 or 3 of you out there. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. I love you very much.